Okay, so you want to talk about the royals, huh? Buckle up because this is getting messy. Forget the fairy tales. We're talking about a full-blown power struggle within the House of Windsor. And it's all kicking off because Prince William's putting his foot down. It boils down to this. King Charles, bless his heart, seems to be reaching out to Harry and Meghan, maybe trying to heal some wounds. Word is he offered them Highgrove House. That's his private home. A place filled with Harry's childhood memories as a safe place when they're in the UK. A place to stay. A chance to reconnect. All that stuff seems reasonable, right? Wrong. Prince William, the heir to the throne, is having absolutely none of it. He's basically told his father, in very clear terms, that Highgrove is off limits to the Sussexes. And here's the kicker. William technically owns the place now. When Charles became king, the Duchy of Cornwall estate, which includes Highgrove, passed to William, so legally he's got the upper hand. Now, why is William being so, well, direct? His camp says it's a matter of principle. They believe Harry and Meghan gave up their right to royal perks when they decided to cash in on their story. And, let's be honest, trash the royal family in the process. Think about it. The Oprah interview, the Netflix documentary series, Harry's book, it's been a constant stream of criticism. William's argument is that welcoming them back into the fold, especially with all the security and logistical implications, would be a huge mistake. It would reward their behavior, destabilize the monarchy, and send the wrong message to everyone else who's actually putting in the work quietly and dutifully. He sees it as surrender, not reconciliation. He's not letting it happen. And it's not just about Highgrove. This whole thing spilled into the public eye when a story about Charles's offer mysteriously disappeared from the Daily Mail. Apparently, William's team leaned on them hard, legally and diplomatically, to kill the story. They suspected it was a trial balloon floated by the Sussexes or their allies to gauge public reaction. William's message was clear. The offer is not happening, and we're not even talking about it. But here's the really juicy bit. It coincides with the Sussexes quietly backing away from one of their Archwell Foundation projects, the Parents Network. This was a support group for families who'd lost children to online harm. Harry and Meghan launched it with a big emotional TV interview promising to fight for these families. Now, they've handed it off to another organization with a measly one-year grant. Some people are seeing this as abandonment, a pattern of the Sussexes latching on to heartfelt causes for publicity and then ditching them when the going gets tough. One former palace communications director even called them asset strippers of goodwill, saying they exploit emotional capital for their own narrative and then move on. My friends, is exactly what fuels William's resolve. He sees Harry and Meghan as a threat to the monarchy, not just awkward family members. He's building a fortress around the institution, and he's not letting them in. So where does that leave King Charles? Stuck in the middle, battling cancer, reportedly longing for a relationship with his son and grandchildren. His desire for peace is clashing head-on with William's strategic assessment that any concessions to the Sussexes would be a sign of weakness. This isn't just a family feud anymore. It's a fundamental struggle over the monarchy's future. William's essentially saying that the crown can't be both a forgiving family and a resilient institution. A choice has to be made, and he's made his. The gates of Highgrove, and by extension the royal fold, are firmly locked shut to Harry and Meghan. So the question now isn't just about family drama, right? It's about national security, about the integrity of the whole institution. They're basically saying, Meghan and Harry aren't needed, aren't wanted in the UK. Ouch, but that's the vibe. The whole idea of them wanting privacy when they left? Total fiction, according to the palace insiders. They didn't want privacy. They wanted a platform, a way to make money without all the royal rules. And they've been doing that ever since, selling their story to the highest bidder. Every interview, every documentary, every book, it's all been about making money from their complaints. You know, the UK isn't home to them anymore. Its source material, the palaces, the traditions, even private conversations, are just content for their next big deal with Netflix or Random House. So, letting them back in for a charity event or a reconciliation tour, forget about it. It's completely against the nation's interests. They've turned themselves into a brand, a business that's in direct competition with the crown. Letting them have access to the inner workings of the royal family is like letting your competitors' executives wander around your headquarters. The risk isn't just emotional, it's operational. It's about the monarchy's reputation. And then there's the security issue. This is huge. Harry and Meghan want taxpayer-funded protection, even though they've spent years bad-mouthing the country and the institution that gave them their status. I mean, come on. It's not just a handout they don't deserve, it's a massive security headache. The Metropolitan Police's security team doesn't just provide bodyguards, they create a whole secure environment with detailed knowledge of schedules, safe houses, travel routes, all that stuff. Giving that kind of sensitive information to two people whose main business partners are Netflix and a publishing house. It's a security nightmare waiting to happen. The potential for conflicts of interest is insane, not to mention the risk of sensitive info leaking to their media partners. It might sound like something out of a spy movie, but that's basically what they do. They're documenting their lives, filming everything, and then editing it into a narrative for the world to see. Every private moment is potential content. A conversation with the king, a look exchanged with Kate, the decor in a private room, it's all fair game. To invite them in is to agree to be unknowingly cast in their ongoing reality show with a script written to make them look like victims. The monarchy can't function like that. The trust is gone. Public opinion has completely turned against them. That initial sympathy they got after the Oprah interview gone, people are tired of their constant complaining and their obvious hypocrisy. They see Harry and Meghan using their titles to get rich, while trashing the country and the family that made them who they are. They see the abandoned charities, the lawsuits against the press, the non-stop criticism from across the Atlantic. Nobody in Britain is calling for them to come back. People think they made their choice, and they should stick with it 5,000 miles away. That's why William's blocking them isn't just some petty family squabble. It's about protecting the monarchy. He's not acting out of revenge. He's acting as the future king, someone who understands that the monarchy's survival depends on its unity, its discretion, and the public's trust. Letting the Sussexes walk back in after years of attacks would show weakness. It would send the message that you can trash the institution for personal gain without any consequences. It would demoralize the family members who actually do their duty and destroy the public's faith in the whole system. King Charles might be hurting as a father, but that can't be the only thing driving his decisions as king. He's got to protect the crown from itself, from the temptation to forgive when he needs to be tough. The Sussexes created their own independence, a lucrative exile of their own making. To let them back in now, to pay for their security. To expose the royal family to their cameras would be an act of institutional self-sabotage. Britain's moved on. The path back was destroyed by Harry and Meghan themselves. With every interview, every accusation, every story they sold for a fortune. They aren't needed. They aren't wanted. Their presence in the UK is a threat to the security, privacy, and stability of the crown. The door isn't just closed. It needs to be barricaded for the good of the nation and the future of the monarchy. Time for sentiment is over. Time for hard lines is here. So, what's the end game here? I mean, it's not just about who gets to sleep in which palace, is it? It's about the future of the whole darn monarchy. William's playing chess, while Charles is playing checkers. And Harry and Meghan, they're playing a completely different game altogether. One with its own set of rules that nobody else understands or frankly wants to. Look, William's got a point. You can't have it both ways. You can't trash the institution, cash in on your royal connections, and then expect to be welcomed back with open arms. Taxpayer-funded security and a cozy spot in the royal pecking order. It just doesn't work that way. And frankly, it's insulting to the rest of the family who've dedicated their lives to public service. Without all the drama and the tell-all interviews, Charles, he's in a tough spot. He's a dad. He wants to make amends, see his grandkids, all that stuff. But he's also the king, and he's got a responsibility to protect the monarchy. The problem is, his personal feelings are clouding his judgment. He's letting his heart rule his head. And that's never a good idea when you're running a multi-billion-dollar institution with centuries of tradition behind it. And Harry and Meghan, I'm not sure what their long game is. They say they want to make a difference, but it seems like they're more interested in making a profit. The constant complaining, the victimhood narrative, the endless self-promotion. It's exhausting, and it's not exactly endearing them to the British public, who, let's face it, are getting pretty sick of the whole thing. The thing is, they keep saying they want to be independent, but they still want the perks of being royal. They want the titles, the security, the access without any of the responsibility. It's like they want to have their cake and eat it, too. And that's just not how life works. And the security thing, that's a real sticking point. I mean, you can't just give state secrets and protection details to people who are basically in business with Netflix. It's a huge conflict of interest, and it's a security risk that no sane government would ever take. So, what's going to happen? Honestly, I don't know. But I can tell you this, the monarchy is at a crossroads. William's drawing a line in the sand, and he's not backing down. He's determined to protect the institution, even if it means alienating his own brother and his father. Charles is going to keep trying to play peacemaker, but I don't think it's going to work. Harry and Meghan seem determined to stay on their own path, and that path is leading them further and further away from the royal family. In the end, I think William's going to win. He's the future king, and he's got the weight of history on his side. He's playing the long game, and he's not going to let emotions get in the way of what he sees as his duty. It's a sad situation, no doubt about it, but sometimes you have to make tough choices for the greater good. And in this case, William believes that the greater good means keeping Harry and Meghan out of the royal fold for good. It's brutal, but it's probably necessary. The monarchy's survival may depend on it. And that's not just family drama. That's a matter of national importance. Claude is AI and can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.